Most Telegram accounts that get stolen aren't cracked. Nobody guesses a password. Somebody walks in through a session that was left open or intercepts a login code, and the real owner finds out when their account starts messaging people on its own. The good news is that the two attack paths that actually matter are both closable in about 10 minutes, and almost nobody bothers. So let me walk you through it. I run managed Telegram hosting on dedicated hardware here in Singapore, real handsets on real carrier SIMs, and I read session logs every day. The single most common way I see accounts compromised has nothing to do with weak passwords. It's hygiene, old sessions left logged in, no second factor, a recovery email that doesn't exist. This is owner-side defense, plain and simple. Account integrity, nothing more. Here's the plan. First, how a Telegram takeover actually works, because the defenses only make sense once you understand the attack. Then two-step verification done properly, including the part everyone skips. Then the recovery email and why is the real log. Then active sessions, the audit habit that catches an intruder in seconds. And finally login alerts, the early warning that tells you something's wrong before it gets bad. Start with the attack because it's simpler than people think. Telegram doesn't use a traditional password to log in. It sends a one-time code by SMS or to other logged-in devices. That means the thing protecting your account by default is whoever can receive that code. If an attacker can intercept your SMS through a SIM swap, a malicious carrier insider, or a flagged virtual number provider, they can request a login code and walk straight in. That's the first path. The second path is even lazier. They don't break in at all. They find a device or a desktop session you logged into months ago and forgot, on a shared computer, an old phone, a borrowed laptop, and they just use it. No code needed because that session is already authorized. Two-step verification closes the first path. Here's what it actually does. Once you set the two-step password, receiving the login code is no longer enough. A new login also has to enter your password. So even if an attacker SIM swaps you and grabs the code, they hit a wall they can't get past without something only you know. To turn it on, go to Settings, then Privacy and Security, then two-step verification. The screen walks you through setting a password and then a recovery email. Pick a password you don't use anywhere else, because the whole point is that it's separate from your other accounts. If your email is already compromised and you reuse passwords, you've handed over both factors at once. Now the part everyone skips, and it's the part that matters most. The recovery email. When you set a two-step password, Telegram asks for a recovery email so you can reset that password if you forget it. People type in anything to get past the screen or skip verifying it. That's a mistake in both directions. If you set a real recovery email and verify it, you have a way back in if you ever forget the password. If you set a fake one or skip it and you later forget your two-step password, there is no reset. Telegram cannot recover it for you. Your only option becomes deleting the account after a waiting period and starting over. I've watched people lose accounts they'd spent a year building because they set a two-step password they couldn't remember and a recovery email that didn't exist. So set a real one, verify it, and make sure that email account is itself locked down with its own two-factor. There's a subtle trap with the recovery email worth naming. It becomes a second key to your account. If your email is weak, your Telegram is weak, no matter how strong the Telegram password is. An attacker who owns your email can trigger a recovery and reset your two-step password. So the chain is only as strong as the email behind it. Treat that inbox as part of your Telegram security, not a separate thing. Now the second attack path, the open sessions, and this is where the daily damage happens. Go to Settings, then Devices, sometimes called Active Sessions. You'll see every device and every desktop session currently logged into your account, with its location and the app it's using. Look at that list honestly. Most people find sessions they don't recognize or forgot about, a desktop login from a computer they used once, an old phone they sold, a web session from a library. Every one of those is a door that's still open. Terminate everything that isn't a device you're actively using right now. There's a single button to end all other sessions at once, and after a clean setup, you should see exactly the devices you expect and nothing else. Make this a habit, not a one-time cleanup. Once a month, open that sessions list and look. It takes 30 seconds. An intruder who got in through an intercepted code shows up here as a session you don't recognize, often from a location that makes no sense for you. Catching it early, before they've changed your settings or two-step password, is the difference between ending one session and losing the account. If you ever see a session you can't explain, end it immediately, then change your two-step password, then check that your recovery email hasn't been altered. There's a setting that turns this from a manual check into an automatic warning. Telegram sends you a notice whenever a new device logs into your account. Don't ignore those messages. If you ever get a login alert you didn't trigger, that's your cue to open the sessions list and terminate the stranger before they do anything. The alert is the smoke detector. The sessions list is where you put out the fire. Together, they mean a takeover attempt has a very short window to do harm instead of an open-ended one. Let me give you a concrete example of how this plays out, because the abstract version doesn't land until you see this sequence. Say an attacker targets your number with a SIM swap. They convince your carrier to port your number to a SIM they control, which is more common than people think and doesn't require any technical skill, just social engineering against the support rep. Now they request a Telegram login code and it arrives on their SIM. Without two-step verification, that's it, they're in. And the first thing they do is open your sessions list and end your sessions, locking you out of your own account. With two-step verification on, that code is useless to them because they hit your password and stop code. The SIM swap still happened, but it bought them nothing on Telegram. That single setting is the difference between a scary phone call to your carrier and a lost account. This is exactly why the second factor is not optional for any account you actually care about. Now consider the order of operations if you ever are compromised, because doing it in the wrong order loses you the account. If you suspect someone's in, the very first move is to terminate all other sessions, which kicks them out immediately. Then change your two-step password right away, because if they don't have it, they can't get back in. And if they do have it, you're locking them out of changing it further. Then check your recovery email hasn't been swapped, because that's the backdoor they'd use to reset your password later. Then check that your two-step password recovery settings still point to your email and not theirs. People often do these in the wrong order, change the password first while leaving the attacker's session live, and the attacker simply changes it right back. Sessions first, then password, then email. Memorize that sequence. There's also a quieter risk worth naming: the linked desktop and web sessions that authorize new logins. On Telegram, an existing logged-in session can be used to confirm a new login on another device in place of an SMS code. That's convenient, but it means a forgotten, still active desktop session isn't just a window into your account. It's potentially a key that authorizes fresh logins elsewhere. This is another reason the sessions audit matters so much. An old session you don't control isn't passive. It can actively help someone else get in. Terminate the ones you don't recognize, and the authorization path they represent goes with them. Inite lampens om haraminda. A few smaller settings tighten this further. Under privacy and security, there's an auto-delete for inactive accounts and a setting that controls how long a session can sit idle, but more importantly, get in the habit of logging out of any session you create on a device you don't own. Logged into Telegram web on a hotel computer or a friend's laptop? Log out before you walk away, and if you forget, terminate it from the sessions list later that day. Every shared device you touch is a potential permanent session if you don't close it. A point on passwords. Because the two-step password is the keystone and people pick weak ones, the whole value of two-step verification collapses if the password is something an attacker can guess or something you've reused on a site that already leaked. The two factors are meant to be independent. Your phone number is one, your password is the other. If your password is the same one you use on a forum that got breached 3 years ago, then an attacker who SIM swaps you and also looks up that breach has both factors, and you've gained nothing. So the two-step password needs to be unique to Telegram, not reused anywhere, and long enough that guessing isn't realistic. Store it in a password manager so you don't forget it, because forgetting it sends you back to the recovery email, and if that's not solid, you're stuck. Unique password, real verified recovery email, both locked down. That's the foundation, and the weak password quietly undoes all of it. Let me put the whole defense in order. Turn on two-step verification with a strong, unique password. Set and verify a real recovery email, and lock that email down with its own two-factor. Audit your active sessions now, terminate everything you don't recognize, and repeat that check monthly. Keep login alerts on and treat any surprise alert as an emergency. Log out of sessions on devices you don't own. Do that, and both real attack paths, the intercepted code, and the forgotten open session are closed. For operators running accounts at any scale, session hygiene stops being a once-a-month core and becomes a real operational risk, because every account is another sessions list to watch and another recovery email to keep valid. That's part of what managed hosting handles. Telegram Vault is managed Telegram hosting on dedicated Singapore hardware, real handsets on real carrier SIMs from Singtel, M1, StarHub, and Vivify, with the login code arriving on a physical phone you control rather than a virtual number anyone can intercept. The session lives on one stable device, so the active sessions list stays clean by design, and there's no forgotten desktop login on a machine you don't own. If you want that, start at telegramvault.org. Onboarding begins with a real conversation about your setup, not a checkout page, and the code TGYT gets you a discount when you start. If this got your account locked down, subscribe, because the next video covers the Telegram privacy settings that actually matter, the handful that protect you, and the ones that are just noise. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.